Evening, people. Evening, folks. If you're coming on, let me know you're here, please. Good evening, evening. Hi, Susie. How is everything since our visit? Ella, hi, Janice. Donna, evening. Jane, evening. Magic, excellent. Good to know. Angela will give you a phone later, reference the doodle. After live, okay? Fantastic, Susie, well done. Guys, if you're coming into the room, can you identify you're here? I don't know how many people we're going to get, folks, because obviously the football's on, so for those that are interested. So really don't know how many is going to be here. Not to worry though. At the moment it's 0-0. Not that I'm worried too much. So So guys, once you come in the room, if you just let me know you're here, and then we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Like I said, I don't know how many is going to come into the room, but hey ho, doesn't matter. But we will see. Am I feeling better now? Was I feeling off? Jane, was I feeling unwell? Or are you talking about Angela? Angela, you're talking about? Yes or no? Yes, okay. Jane, Angela was skiving. She was in the hospital with a pulled muscle. That was all it was. I don't know how she pulled a muscle though, because she doesn't have any muscles. Donna, we've got one there, and we got another one over the back. There he is there, he just popped up. He's away up to the office couch. So we get Uba's there, and Rico is down at my feet. So, right guys, let's get started. So, just remind myself. Right, Trainer's Toolbox, we'll talk about that in a minute. We're also going to talk about the 3Ds tonight. Distraction, distance, duration, because I think it's really important to you. All that bloody running at Millport, yeah, so what? So we need to talk about that, because the 3Ds are part of your training. I always see people don't actually put it in. And then we will talk about, what's that say? Let me take my hand. And I'm also going to talk BAT, behaviour adjustment training, because we did a little bit of BAT today with Susie, who's joining us tonight with her little cocker. In fact, let's talk about that. So, behaviour adjustment training, we brushed lightly on it recently, and it is part of a trainer's toolbox, and I believe you should have it in your toolbox. Myself and Angela were discussing it, and we put it in. So we put a semi-bat in today with Susie and a little cocker. So went out to help her today. She's got a little cocker who's reactive, and a little Maltese or Bichon cross, I think it is, if I remember. Anyway, so both dogs recently got quite a negative association with other dogs due to the fact they were attacked by two border terriers off lead, took quite a chunk out of them. So dog had gained a negative association, thereby we the little guys were reacting to one, people coming to the door, which was more territorial. But the biggest problem for Susie was that we're reacting outside to dogs in the distance. So given the circumstances, we took a little Uba along today because he's like bomb proof. Lined him up, seen the reactivity, and then we started adding a little bit of BAT training. So what we did is we took Susie, remind me of the spaniel's name, Brody. How the hell can I forget that? It's named Brody Way. So we hold on, I'm wrecking the place here, guys. Hold on, better put that up because I'm very pissed off. So yeah, Brody. So we got Brody, and Angela started closing down the distance. Now, when we look at BAT, we have to look at the dog disengaging from whatever that impulse or arousal is. Because what's happened before is when Brody's kicked off, or the other dog's kicked off, or just say in general, you have a dog that is reactive, somebody approaches you, you have that reactive dog, and the person goes away. So thereby what's happening is that when the person goes away, the dog's actually achieving its function, if that makes sense. Okay? So how BAT should work is that we close the space down bit by bit. Now what we did is, I think Angela started off, I think she was about 50 metres away. So she was about 50 metres away. We took Brody in. Brody gave us a little bit of growling reaction. We then obviously let him put tension on the lead. He had tension on the lead. We stepped in at the lead, and then we walked off. So we went away as soon as Brody was quiet. When we took him away, we then rewarded away from impulse. So what we then started doing was reducing impulse, or reduced distance. And within 10-15 minutes, Angela and Susie were standing about 6 feet apart. And what we did is we worked on it bit by bit by bit. Brody isn't a particularly difficult job. We just had to know what application to put in him. So we used a form of BAT. And I think it's important that trainers understand how BAT really works and how beneficial it could be in some circumstances. So given that, we worked on that in the afternoon, and then I was walking both dogs together. Angela and Susie were doing walk pass with each other. There was one interaction whereby Brody sort of had a little lunge. Susie rightfully corrected him for that bit of naughtiness. And from there, we started really upping the ante. And this afternoon, after we had a sit down and chat, Susie told us she would have to take the dog to the school to pick up the kids. So, not one to drop a challenge, we decided to take Brody, and given the circumstances, there was On arrival, I went and recce'd the school gates. There was one dog tied to the fence, one dog coming down the pathway, and another dog coming up behind us. So we set Brody up for success. We brought him in and we set him up in a grass area. So the dog behind him was about 15 yards away. The dog in front of him was about 10 yards away, and we had the third one over in the pathway, another 20 yards or whatever. So we had 3 dogs to deal with. So what we did was we allowed him to sniff, which is the alternative behaviour we're looking at. So he's doing that, which is great. So he's not interested in the dog. So nothing should be of any interest to that dog other than you and whatever he's doing at that time. So that's what you need to work on. So there was one where he took the tension up on the lead and Susie stepped in to make the lead slack and then went backwards. Brody then self-corrected and then he started sniffing again and he got rewarded, and during that period we got really good engagement. Now I think Angela has sent me the photograph of you outside the school, Susie, so I'm just going to check if I can then, if it's now transferred over to, yeah, I'm going to see if it's transferred to the computer, guys, and if it is, I will bring it up on screen. Now this was a little dog that was going pretty tonto prior to her arrival, and it was all about giving Susie the tools, i.e. the application, how to apply the lead and how to put that in place. So let's look and see if I can bring that up. Where the hell is it? Right, let's check this out. I'm not very good at this, guys, so let's check it out. Right. Photograph. Magic. See if it's uploaded. Yeah, baby. So, as you can see, guys, this is little Brody. He was kicking off when we first arrived, and there's the dog. Look at the distance. Look at the engagement to handler. So if you can all see that, so let's, there we go, bring that up, move that over there. So we got a dog there, you can see the distance involved, that's my foot, don't worry about that. On the pathway here, about another 20 yards behind us, we had a dog on the other path, the crossroads, and down behind us here, we had a cockapoo. And as I said, this little guy was going tonto at other dogs prior to our arrival. And this is only about, I think it was about 2 hours in that we were able to achieve this. Look at that. So the other thing there, yeah, magic, good. So the other thing to consider here, guys, was when Susie was doing some engagement work with Brody, her hand kept sitting in the pouch, so Brody was very interested in the pouch, as you can see there. Can everybody see that? So what I said to Susie was, keep your hand out of the pouch because he's watching the pouch and watches your hand going in and out. So, as you can now see, he's now engaging up and down here. Okay? Yeah, magic. So, that was him about 2 hours in. So we achieved this in about 2 hours. And we didn't have to do a lot. We just added the right application, and that's what we did. So let's see if I can find the other one. This is quite good, this. I'm learning about this, bringing photos up. Not bad for somebody that's not that great. So I showed you that one. There's the other one there. Magic. Now you can see Susie's a lot closer now. Now you can see her hand reaches into the pouch. Yep. And the dog is engaged with her. So prior to this happening, Brody was having a wee sniff around in the grass, and then you'll notice Susie's legs here, one in front of the other. When Brody was sniffing around and he popped his head up to look at the dog here, the left foot, I asked Susie to move it backwards, and Brody automatically engaged away from the dog. So that's what we're looking at. So prior to this photograph being taken, Brody was having a wee sniff round, brought his head up, eyes on the dog in the distance there, he took tension on the lead. What Susie did was step in, made the lead slack, and then took one step back with the leg. So her body actually caused the dog to move backwards and then engage with Susie, which was the aim. So that's what we did with that, guys. So this, as I said, was achieved in about 2 hours. Now the great thing was, we then threw Susie right in the deep end. So as the kids came out of school, we walked down the street and we were faced with a white husky, maybe a Samoyed. The owner had it on a flexi and he wasn't paying too much interest to his dog. So we stopped Susie and we got her set up for success. We also created a barrier with me. So we had the pavement, there was a car waiting to pull out. So what we did is we put Susie and Brody onto the road, about 6 feet away from the other dog. And I created the barrier. So I walked beside the dog on the left and Susie had put her body on the right hand side of the dog. So the dog was in between me and Susie and the Samoyed was to my left hand side. Luckily for us, the Samoyed sort of chilled out and just laid down. And what we did is we just remained calm all the way through, and basically Brody just ignored the other dog, which was great. So Susie put a little message up there earlier when we left that hi Christopher, where are we? Yeah, she said she's been out for a walk and managed to pass a dog and no reaction. So at the start as well, what we also did was we built loads and loads and loads and loads of foundation work. We put loads of engagement work in place with Little Uber as well. We did all that homework. Susie had already been watching some of my videos, put lots of homework in before we arrived. The dogs were pretty well engaged, and even with us arriving at a house, we had the dogs quiet within minutes, to be perfectly honest, and all we were using was leads and control and everything else. So guys, it can be achieved. It doesn't need to take a lifetime. It can be done if the person puts the work in, and I have to say Susie's testament to that, because she has put a lot of work in prior to our arrival today with the two dogs. She was fully aware of the problem and she's been dealing with it, but what she needed was some overlay from ourselves to help with the future journey or the ongoing journey, and that's what we did today. We went up there, provided the ongoing journey for her and the tools to carry on, and all we did was do that with a little flat buckle collar and a little flat lead, nothing more. So yes, the dogs were kicking off, but what we did is we looked at the whole package and said, right, that's how we're going to do this. And that's where we went with it. So if you do put the work in, you will get the results. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, it's all about process. Process. We, myself and Angela also went out to work with a Belgian Malinois recently. Beautiful bitch, 7 months old, but the downside is that she hasn't had the input that the dog required. So we had to go in and peel that dog right back to basics, and we started with engagement work. Again, a little bit reactive, but that's down to the very fact that the person who trained it prior to us had taught the dog to be reactive to other dogs and people, and that's the issue. But working with her, she was an absolute friendly little bitch and lots of potential, and we've left that owner with tons and tons and tons of homework. So we're going to check in with that one over the next couple of days to make sure they're on on the process and they're carrying out the journey, etc. So we've got a couple of checkups to do this week. Angela, as I said earlier, I'll speak to you reference to Doodle. I need to speak to you personally for that one, okay? But hey ho, that's where we were with. So that was a method of BART that we put in. So when you're doing behaviour adjustment training, what you're doing is should show the picture. She was beautiful. Oh, the Mali. Let's find the Mali. Yeah, this is the Mali bitch myself and Angela were doing some work with. Mallee bitch. Hold on, guys. Okay, so the Mallee bitch, myself and Ange went to work with this. This a lovely little bitch. Here she is here. So beautiful little bitch. Lots and lots of potential. I know you'll like this one, Jane. Beautiful dog. And again, this is going to take a lot of work. Slightly reactive at 7 months old already. Beautiful dog. And look at that black mask. Is that not gorgeous? It came from a good breeding line, and the guys actually bought 2 of them. He gave one to his father, and his father's having some issues with it. And this little girl was put on a sleeve when she was younger, and I did a post a couple of weeks ago about you know, why people shouldn't bite train dogs in their back garden, etc. And this is what's happened to this little girl. So at this moment in time, we told them to take her off the sleeve and not do any more sleeve work with her, because teaching a dog to bite is a big risk. Liable, sort of insurance issues, etc, etc. Let's see when we bring one up again. The mask on this girl is amazing. Look at that black mask. And absolutely beautiful. And I actually said to the guy, I'd be happy enough to take her off his hands if he thought that he wasn't able to provide the good home for her. So really lots of potential. Make a great search dog as well. And again, we're going to have to look at BAT with her. And that's the other thing with her. So yes, BAT, behaviour adjustment. So what you're looking for with BAT, guys, is, because what generally happens is when a dog has a reactivity issue and you're the handler or owner, when you walk towards somebody and your dog starts being reactive and the other person goes away, then in the dog's eyes, they've caused that. Look at this through the dog's eyes. What are they trying to achieve? What is the function, etc, etc. And then look at what's actually happened, okay? So what we do is we stood there, dog engaged, and we waited for the dog to either disengage from whatever the arousal or impulse was, or for the dog to do a natural thing like sniff the ground, do these normal things. So if the dog was sniffing the ground, then the other impulse arousal disappeared. Or we rewarded the dog through that self-rewarding behaviour of sniffing about. So if the dogs are quite calm and they go into what you call a natural sort of rewarding behaviour like sniffing, that's what you're looking for. So the impulse or arousal is up here in front. What you're looking for is a dog to go, yeah, I know you're there, and just go back to doing dog stuff. Basically what happens there. With BAT training, it's really important that if you're carrying that type of training out, that you set your reactivity sessions up. And we're already talking about setting some sessions up for Susie further down the line, and she's going to set some sessions up herself. We've talked about it, and Susie spoke to one of her neighbours, and the neighbour's going to do a session for her. So it's all about reactivity sessions. Set your sessions up. You're looking to do, with BAT, you're looking to do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps. Massive, hi Sam, massive amounts of reps you're looking for, okay? That's what you're looking to do, rep after rep after rep. What you want is a lot of success. You will get some negatives, and that's when you need to take a step back and then add more positives. You're looking to get more positives than you are negatives, and then it will start weighing itself out. But again, with BAT training, it's going to take some time, and you have to put the work in. And with Susie, I can see she wants to put the work in with the Spaniel. She could see the difference. So much so, we had both of them sat pretty close together at the end of the day. Let's see what else. So I think there was one with both dogs together. Let's see. Yeah. So this was myself and Susie. Yeah. So this here, guys, I'm going to try and that's, I don't know if you can see, so that's me and Uber, and this is Susie and Brody. And what we did is we went up here and we did a U-turn, and then when we U-turned and came back down, both dogs were on the same side. So that was the idea. So I turned to the right, Susie turned to the left, and then we come back down towards her house, both dogs were on the same side, so they had to deal with each other. There was absolutely nothing to worry about. Susie remained calm, and she just walked, and we walked together, and this was it. So you can see Brody's engaged up with Susie, and the little guy's engaged up with me here while I'm talking to Susie as well. So nice way to finish today it was, and then we did some work with Stupid as well. So you can see both dogs are engaged with the handlers, and that's what we're looking for. Even though both dogs are in the vicinity, this couldn't have happened prior to our visit, guys. Couldn't happen at all. So giving Susie the right tools, giving her the right input, and she was able to then achieve that later on. So that was about 3 hours in after today. So I don't know if little Brody's going to be spaced out tonight sleeping. I'll just see what else was thrown in today, guys. I know Angela took some photos and sent them over, so I don't know what she's sent me. Oh, but nah. At your feet sleeping, good. So yeah, this was him at the end of our session, guys, lying on the street. We were all just standing around talking, and that was the end result. There he is, actually out for the count, just lying down on the deck, and I was over here somewhere, Angela was over where my face is on the camera, and Susie was at the end of the lead, and this was him after our session, asleep on the pavement outside. So, and Susie just said he was asleep on the at her feet as we speak. Right, let's talk about the trainer's toolbox, guys. So, I know Samantha's here, I know Angela's here, I don't know if Kim's sitting in the background. Susie, you're also not allowed to answer this because you were talking about it today. So, I'm going to do the trainer's toolbox, and as you give me stuff, I'm going to talk about them. So, I do have a whiteboard, and we'll mark them down and we'll talk about each one. So this is from a bit of interaction from you guys. I'm going to put a light on because I have to shut the blind because it's really sunny outside. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to get into trouble. Why? I have to use a crutch for walking but find problems with only one hand. Okay, right. Angela, you can't answer. Susie can't answer. Sam's in here as well, and Sam was on the phone it was yesterday. She can't answer this. Oh, I don't know about Jane King. She might get this. At the moment, right, okay. Donna's here, right. So, the toolbox, guys. The first answer, Angela, Susie, Angela, Susie, Sam, and if Kim's hiding in the background, she's not allowed to answer because Kim does that. She sits in the background. Hold on, guys. Let me know if you can see the whiteboard. Right, can you see that? Magic. So, somebody give me a tool for the trainer's toolbox, please. But Susie, Angela, and Sam can give me any other tool, but not the one that we spoke about first yesterday. Oh, for Susie today. Guys, I need a tool. Tell me. Trainer's toolbox. What is in the trainer's toolbox? Come on. Come on. Clicker. Okay, next. Come on. Lead. Leads. Okay, Sam. Susie said lead. Give me another one. Collar, yeah. That could fall into collar, so we'll put that down. Okay, Sam? Sam, that can also fall into collar. Next. Food. Well done. Ball. Yeah. Toys. Come on. Body language. Angela Turner. Right. Voice. Yeah. We'll put that in knowledge, Jane. How about we put that under knowledge? You agreed with that? Knowledge, understanding their behaviours? Knowledge? Say yes or no. Yeah. So we'll say knowledge, Jane. Experience, not that will come into knowledge, Sam. Water. Could water be a tool? Of course it can. Many ways. Right, Sam, Angela or Susie, you can answer the one I told you not to answer for because nobody said it yet. So it's up to you three to see who's quick. Rattle can, Angela Turner. It's a tool. Communication. Voice, Jane. You, Angela Turner. Sam, the handler. You. Owner, handler, right. Next. So think about yourself. What else can affect that? Confidence. We'll say body language on that, Donna. Looking for one more. Clothing, Angela Turner. Guys, remember Angela's out working with me, so right, we'll go with them to start with. Okay, let's look at the first thing that I think is the most important, and that is you, number one. Why you most important? Okay, so think about you as a person going into someone's house. How you carry yourself, your body language. Now, dogs are better at reading body language than we are, and that's why I said your body language is the most important thing, you the person. So think about what changes that dog's body language to you. So if you walk in and you're showing fear in any way, the dog will pick up on it. Are you confident? And Donna's already brought that up in confidence. So that comes back into body language as well. So when I walk into a place, I'm already looking at the dog's body language as well. And it's really important you do. What's the dog's ears doing? Are they forward? Are they down? Are they back? What's the dog's mouth like? Is it closed firmly? Are the eyes fixated? Is the body firm? Is the dog got a stalking stance? Is the tail rigid? You've got to look at everything when you look at the dog. Are the dog's eyes fixated? How's the dog looking at you? Is it coming forward? Is it moving back if you move forward? So one of the biggest tests you can do, if you walk in and a dog's barking, just take a very small step towards the dog. It doesn't have to be a big one, and see what happens, see what the dog does. Now, people talk about reactivity and aggression. and it's very unlikely that you will get to see a truly aggressive dog. Truly aggressive dogs just want to fight all the time. Okay, these are the types of dogs that's teeth are out, the jaws right over the top. They are totally engrossed in fighting, whatever it is, they do not care. Their eyes are constantly fixed, they're foaming at the mouth, they're really sort of tense up, and all their muscles will show. And they're really foaming, and they're really going for it tonto. Alright, that's generally an aggressive dog. A reactive dog, on the other hand, okay, is generally born out of very many things, either frustration, fear, similar things to that. Okay, so you've got to look at it. If you take a step forward and the dog backs off, your strength has just moved him back. So you're probably looking at a fear reactive dog, okay? The other way of checking it, if you go to move away from the dog and the dog comes forward, the dog is then using your body language to say it's getting what it's wanted. So if the dog moves forward and you back down, see what I mean? The dog is getting what the dog wants. So it's really important that if you're a trainer, certainly, if you're walking in towards a dog, you really understand the body language which you're seeing. Okay, it's really important. So it's not unusual for me to say to an owner, okay, depending on the dog, I'll make contact with them on the phone to say, does your dog have any bite history, etc. I'm asking them all those questions prior to even going to the house. So if I take a step towards that dog and the dog backs off, I know straight away, right, because I'm confident, my body language is there, I show confidence. I've seen a seriously anxious dog, his eyes were on stalks, was really sad. Okay, that's anxiety, Dotty. So I'm talking about real bad aggression. My dog just wants to kill people, okay? Just wants to fight all the time, doesn't care what's going on. No amount of correction or anything else. If you correct this dog, it's probably going to get even angrier. Alright, and that's what you're looking at. Real aggression cases are very, they're very rare. Okay, they really are very rare. You're probably talking a lot of times reactivity. And again, you've just brought it up, anxiety, fear, all these types of things that cause reactivity towards another stimulus or an arousal outside that little circle. So it's really important you know how to read a dog. If the dog really wants to go for it and is driving forward, constantly trying to get at you, even though you're stood there, the chances are you're dealing with an aggressive dog, especially if it's foaming at the mouth, the teeth are almost hanging out the gums, it looks rabid, and as I said, the eyes are really, you know, squeezed up and crunched up, and trust me, you'll know if you've got an aggressive dog rather than a reactive one. But like I said, it's unusual or rare that most dogs are aggressive. It's generally born out of a lot of desire to fight all the time. And that's what you'll get. Aggressive dogs, as I said, they just want to fight all the time. They're off their face constantly, even in the home with the owners, etc. So it's generally more likely you'll come across a reactive dog down to whatever stimulus is causing that, whether it's fear, whether it's through a person, whether that dog's had a negative association in regards to that. So watch what you're doing body language wise, okay? Even the way you carry yourself, the way you stand, the way your hands are. Even when we communicate as humans, we communicate through our body language as well, and it's not unusual for a human to create some sort of assumption by looking at somebody, and we always used to talk about this in the police service, is that if I see somebody staggering down the road, the assumption is that that person may be drunk, okay, but what's to say the person hasn't had a stroke or is unwell? And this is the problem in society as well. We as humans don't read language very well because we always assume, and that's why dogs are so good at it. Sometimes we assume things on the surface of what we see, and in my opinion, there's no place for that. And coming from the background I do, it's really important that even when I was dealing with a human in my last job, I was always looking at their body stance, how they stood in front of me. Are they standing square on? Are they standing side on? Are they taking up a defensive stance type thing? What are their arms doing? What are their fists doing? Are their hands closing and opening and closing all the time? That's somebody. Are their hands ready down at the side of their body with a clenched fist, because that's a danger sign and warning sign that they may come forward and strike you? Does their head duck? Does their fixated gaze? What you'll generally find with human as well is that a human will fixate on the target. Okay, their head will drop, they'll take up a defensive stance, and they're basically fixed. They're basically targeting, and that's what a dog will do a lot of the time as well. Watch if the dog's targeting. So body language, all right. And that normally comes about the owner, the handler, how you're acting. So the next one, let's look at clothing as number 2, how you dress. What happens is if a dog is can't see because you've got your hood up, you've got a baseball cap on, you're wearing dark glasses, the type of clothing you're wearing, and if you're wearing baggy clothing, your body language is not going to be very busy or visible. These are all things that can affect something. So again, when I'm told I'm going out to deal with a dog that maybe is reactive against people wearing hats, I'm not going to wear a hat. If it's reactive to people wearing certain items of clothing, I'm not going to wear that type of clothing. You know, so it's really important that we set the dog up for success. What I may do is we may set the dog up on a reactivity session to see how bad it is, if it is the hat, but it may be down to the handler application again. And that was very useful. Yeah, body language, Jane, absolutely. Children in care, everybody should look at it. So again, clothing. Think about clothing as well as in our communication system as humans. We generally assume stuff again when we see somebody who's a bit scruffy dressed. We automatically assume that they might be dregs of society, but I wear hoodie tops all the time. I wear training shoes a lot. I wear jeans a lot. But should an assumption be made at me? I've got a shaved head down the side. It's just the whole thing, how we dress, how we present ourselves as well. So that can also be a factor when dealing with dogs with certain reactivity issues. So if you are going down the training route, you've got to really think of all this stuff as well, guys. Think about how you dress, think about how you carry yourself in, and then your voice. I would say that's number 3. Voice. What we smell like, yeah. So the let's look at voice, okay? So how we carry our voice. Now we use our voice in a lot of ways, and then one of them ways that we use our voice is a positive association. So let's look at the clicker and voice, because when we use our voice, some people just talk loads of gobbledygook to dogs, and dogs, as I said, are non-verbal communicators unless there is an association to a word. And what I mean by that is sit, down, come, stay. All these words are already associated with an action, and you teach the dog to do that. The other words that we use are yes and no. I often get people saying to me, my dog doesn't know the meaning of no. And I say that's because there is no tangible consequence on the end of no. No is nothing but a predictor, and yes is a predictor as well. So it's a predictor. Yes predicts positive, no predicts negative. So dogs learn through negative and positive consequence, as every living sentinel does. So it's not unusual that if I say yes, the dog is waiting and predicting something positive, and if I say no, the dog is already aware. If it's been conditioned to that word no, remember what I said, words mean nothing to a dog unless there's been an association made. So you may have conditioned the word no, and as soon as I say the word no, the dog will stop doing what it's doing because I've already conditioned it to a tangible consequence. The same as sit, down, come, stay. When we look at the clicker predicts a positive. I would like to think it does, due to the fact that we click and reward. We click and reward for a dog presenting a behaviour which is acceptable and wanted at that time. So hence the reason why a click or the word yes predicts what's going to happen. So think about what you say to your dogs as well, how you carry your voice. It's not unusual for me to say to people in a class, tell your dogs to down, and the first thing they do is down. I don't know what it is with people, it's always down, down, down. Who hasn't heard that? So to give you an example, on Monday when we spoke to the guy about the Belgian Malinois, and we said to him, you know, tell your dog to sit, tell your dog to down. It's like, sit, down, do this, do that. And you're thinking, if he spoke to me like that, I wouldn't want to do it. There would be no desire. all right, because it's almost like screaming at you. So what we did to him, we said, listen, tone your voice down, make it quieter. And at one stage he was going, sit, down, stand, heel. Do you know what? Because we'd conditioned that dog with food and we conditioned it to the words, the dog started to listen better. Because the dog's like, so the desire to listen was much better. But if we use our voice in a way, so if I'm correcting a dog, say for argument's sake, will I increase my verbal communication of the word no? No. When I'm adding the word yes, I generally make it softer due to the fact there's a positive on the end of that. So think about how you use your voice as well, guys. Heel, calm, the name. I'm not going to say both of my dogs' names, but I will use one. So one of my ex-dogs, Shane. Wouldn't you want to run towards that? Because I've already conditioned Shane to the food. So I shout, Shane. Guess what? I too can make my voice sound as girly as I need to for when we do that. It's not unusual when I'm doing search work or doing the trailer for the instructor's course. Yeah, Janice, body language is definitely working. She sits, lies down, etc. Yep. So we worked with Janice a few weeks ago. So think about it, when I'm doing the trailer for the instructor's course and I trail for them, I sound like something out of a Minnie Mouse, right? I'm shouting, come, and I'm building that dog and driving the dog's drive up, right? I'm creating a little squeaky voice. So think about how you use your voice as well. Angela will tell you what I do when I deal with my dogs is I speak very quietly. And you can see the dog's brain almost thinking, what's he said? But what I also do is add it with body language. So I add the word and the body language together and I get the desired results. And then we add, guess what? We add food, toys, or we add that play. So because play is part of your toolbox, all right? And that might be through toys as well. So think about it. Voice, clothing, and you the handler. All right. What I want to cover as well is what Dottie's brought up is smell. So the old saying is a dog will smell your fear. Who has seen a dog curl its tail underneath? And the reason they do that is because they're covering the anal glands. Because what they will do is when they're going through a fearful period, they'll excrete pheromones and smell through the anal passage. And that's why a lot of the time a dog will, you'll see a dog curling its tail really tight underneath because it doesn't want another dog to smell that area. If you look at how a dog generally goes and greets another dog, it will either go to the groin or the anal area to smell that dog. Okay, but dogs also communicate through smell, or they can read smell if you think about it. So when you get these people that stick their hand into a dog's face and I say, what are you doing? They say, I'm just letting my dog smell, or let your dog smell me. I'm like, why? My dog can smell cancer. You know, my dog knows you're in the room. It smelt you when you walked in. It already knows you're here. So that as well. Think about your smell. You know, it might be that, unfortunately, guys, if you're nervous, you will give off some type of scent from your anal passage. I'm afraid to say you will. It's not unusual. In some occasions when I've been adrenalized or when I have been, if you think about adrenalized or full of dopamine or I'm really excited, you will give off some sort of moisture through your back passage. You really will. I'm sorry to tell you guys, although it sounds a bit smelly and bad, it does give off a wee smell. It's not unusual to happen. So myself and Angela were talking about this the other day as well. When a dog is so pent up and nervous and it covers the anal glands, its body becomes tense. And it's not unusual for a dog, once the muscles and everything to relax, is to defecate on the floor. And we were laughing about this when we were talking about it, because how many times have you said to somebody that's making you either laugh or you've been on some sort of fearful, let's look at a fairground ride, like a roller coaster. Yeah, good evening, Kim, you're late to the party. So if we look at when you're fearful on some sort of fairground ride, what do you normally want to do? You want to go to the toilet when you're finished, or you're saying to somebody who's making you laugh, going to stop making me laugh, you're going to make me pee myself, or I'm going to shit myself in a minute. Okay, especially when you're fearful. I could never understand why my mother used to say, make sure you get clean underwear on. Trust me, when the car hits me, The last thing I'll be worried about is clean underwear, because my body will just have to. I had to watch the verdict. All right, verdict to it. All that shite. So think about. Remember that old saying your mother used to say to you, those that are old enough to remember. Make sure you've got clean underwear in case you get knocked down. Trust me, when you get knocked down, your bowels will let go because you will shit yourself. Alright, so I don't understand why they always used to say put clean underwear on in case you get knocked down. Because you're going to shit or piss yourself anyway, because that's what happens. Alright, you panic. Alright, you go into that fearful state, and when the body relaxes, it gives off either a feces or it will obviously urinate. It's to give you an example of that, when I was in the military, when we're in a high adrenalized state, we're going through, say, a contact. A contact is when you come into say, a firefight with the enemy, which happened on occasions. Everything's going hell for leather. You're adrenalized. You don't realise how fearful you're at the time because you're dealing with the situation then and there. And generally what happens is after the incident, your body starts to relax. And it wasn't unusual for some of the guys to wet themselves and stuff like that. Or in some cases even worse. Because your body starts to relax and all the pent up aggression and nervousness just releases then. Because you're constantly dealing with stuff. So think about it as well. So you're scent. Okay. So you will give off scent. If we think about scent as human beings as well, those that have got partners, boyfriends, husband, call it what you want, or the guys on here that have got wives, girlfriends, or partners, whatever, I always used to say to people, when you meet each other, you have that type of links moment. The first thing you do is you look at body language. How's that person standing? What sort of body language are they giving off? Have they had the links moment? Is that girl wearing Chanel? Remember that? So you're almost seeing if one, they're clean, they smell good, their body language, how do they speak? We look at voice as well. If you come from the west of Scotland as I do, it's not unusual for people to speak like alright, that puts me right off. I think it's lazy. You know, you think of you know, in the whole of UK we have dialect. Essex, Liverpool, Manchester, Yorkshire. We have obviously the northeast, Geordie. We have Glasgow, Aberdeen. We have so many different dialects in Scotland as well. We've got the west coast, we've got the east coast, we've got Dundee, we've got Aberdeen, Inverness. Every one of them's got their different dialect, although we all speak English to some degree, I suppose. But we all communicate in body language, voice, and we communicate through scent as well. Even when I was in the police service, I communicated to you through scent. The first thing I do when I pull your car over is my nose is in your window. Has they been drinking? Is there anything in the car that I can smell, etc.? So we communicate like that all the time. So let's look at your clothing. Let's look at you, the handler. Let's look at your voice, and certainly gonna know do that. Right, okay, Janice. Janice has been an arse, right? So let's look what else we've got here. Knowledge, I would say you can put that into that one there, you the handler. How much knowledge does the owner or handler have about the dog and the sort of states the dog is in? What knowledge does he have about equipment? What knowledge does he have about other tools? So you can add all that into, you know, that. What do they know about that? What do they know about toys? What do they know about food and how to add it? What do they know about leads? Because we'll cover that in a second, guys. What's their clicker knowledge? How do they know how to work a clicker? What else can we add? You've got Gen Con and prong there. Those that don't know, a Gen Con is a head collar. Similar head collars like you've got the Halti, Canny collar, Gentle Leader, and the Dogmatic, which are the favourites. Okay, okay. So you've got to look at all these, and knowledge falls into every one of these. Okay, knowledge about the dog breed as well. So let's look at breed, because you know what are dogs bred for. So Jane, I think you got a Mali and a GSD. Kim's got GSDs. I've got a Cocker. I've got a Rottweiler. Susie's got a Cocker. Angela's got a Collie. Although it's bearded. Who else have we got in here? Dottie, I don't know what you've got. Janice has got a sort of Maltese thing, or a Havanese, whatever it's called. What you got? Jane, yeah, we know what you've got. Angela, Donna, we don't know what you've got. Tell me what you've got. Sam, you've got a multitude of dogs. If you got that Caucasian Shepherd, is that your mate, Sam? But you've got a GSD cross. What's your GSD across Husky? Is it? Looks like that. So we'll get that in a minute. Whoever's messaged. Christopher, don't know what you've got. If you're still here. Right, so new comments, what we got? Donna's got a GSD as well, so GSDs. So every one of these breed comes with a predisposed behaviour. So your GSDs, your Malleys, your Herders, your Collies, Rotties, what else we got in there? So Sam's got a GSD cross Husky, so Huskies predisposed to pull, predisposed to living temperatures at a certain element. GSDs are originally herding dogs, although predominantly used in protection work and general purpose work for security services, military and police, and search work. So you've got to look at the breed of dog as well. Janice has got Janice Havanese in it. You mean what for? What for? Right. So so Kim's got 3 GSDs. And every one of those shepherds that she's got comes with a different behaviour because they're all got specific issues. So you've got to look at the full picture here, guys. So I've got a Rottie who was dog reactive before, and I've got a Cocker who just couldn't care. He doesn't care. All right. Linda's got a Russian Black Terrier. So originally terriers, although they're bred originally terriers for catching furry things and ripping and shredding and stuff, Linda's got a Russian Black Terrier, which predominantly is used for protection work. So you've got the best of both there. A bit like a loaf of bread, I suppose. Best of both, they call it, isn't it? 50-50s. So you got that as well. Alright. So, knowledge about breed. Malleys, GSD, Lurcher. So Jane's got a Malley and a GSD, both herding dogs, and a Lurcher, which is a sight dog. So that's a sight hound, technically. So it chases small furries and deer and shit like that runs very fast. Alright, so if Jane's Lurcher is on the game, I have no doubt that Jane's Lurcher will chase shit forever until that shit dies or it catches hold of it, i.e. furry rabbity thing or deer or similar. So you've got to look, does the trainer have specific knowledge of that breed and how to deal with it? Okay, so knowledge again in that. Let's look what else. Clicker. A clicker, people think a clicker is this magical training tool. It's not. All a clicker is part of your toolbox which predicts what is about to happen. So generally speaking, a clicker will predict a positive. So we click food, click food, click food. Dog gives us a presentable behaviour, a behaviour we want. We click to let the dog know you've got that. That's what we want, and we normally reward, and that's generally what happens. So that's what we're looking for. Cool. Clicker. So leads. Let's look at leads. So you get long lines, you've got flexies, you've got that too. Yeah. So we got flexies. We've got normal clip leads. The list is endless for leads. Okay, so again, yes, a lead. So if you are a dog trainer, I have got a box full of leads. I've got normal flat buckle leads, I've got a slip lead, I've got a chain lead for dogs that bite leather or clothing. So there's a chain between the handle and the end. So if the dog does bite it, all he's going to do is bite metal. I also have dual leads where if a dog's wearing a specific collar, I can clip onto one collar and put a safety onto the other collar if one collar snaps. And that's generally used for when we use head collars, pinch collars, or a dominant or French collar. Okay, so that's what you need to look at that. So let's look at collars, because this one is going to cause a lot of issues here, and some people will agree and some people won't. It's entirely up to you. My toolbox has every type of collar, everything that you can think of. So let's look at, we've got the normal flat buckle. Generally speaking, I will use collars that have like a belt buckle. That's the flat collars I tend to use. Okay, I am not a fan of these plastic clips that clip in, one, because they break easily, and secondly, the plastic clip collars normally have a slider on them where you adjust the length, and it's not unusual for those sliders to slide and the collar goes to a size you do not want. Collars should fit snug so that when you apply pressure, the dog's not getting a massive pull on it, okay? Should be able to communicate with little or no effort through any collar. So that's a flat buckle. Next thing you can look at is probably a half check or a martingale, is where you have a leather collar or a material collar and you have a chain between the two dead links. And between the two dead links you have a continuous chain, and on the middle of the chain you'll have a ring where you connect the lead to, and as you pull it, it makes the noise of the chain, and obviously what will happen is the two dead links will come together and tighten on the dog. Okay, so you'll pull on the middle link and the collar will tighten. Okay, so that's either a half check or a martingale collar. Now you'll also get a, let me look, a all cell choke chain. Okay, normally the chains that you see being used are more of a fur saver chain, and they're normally for attachment very quickly to, and you'll see a lot of them in protection dogs, generally used by the police service and stuff like that, because they need to connect to something very quickly, and the chain's just the easiest thing to use. Okay, so just a normal chain. Normally you can get rectangular links or little round links depending on the dog. The fur saver ones tend to be rectangular so they're not catching the fur. Okay, and if you catch the fur too much, generally speaking what will happen is the fur will start to come out. So are they still used? Yes. Are they illegal? No. So that's your normal choke chain. So let's look at what we can go into next. So the one that's probably going to cause a lot of people a headache is the prong. Okay, the prong collar is specifically designed, believe it or not, for those that don't know, not to injure. I'm going to say it again, the pinch collar or prong collar, okay, when you look at it, it looks like some barbaric torture chamber, but it's specifically designed that it applies continuous pressure around the whole circumference of the neck where it does not injure. So what it does is it applies negative reinforcement, and the dog avoids that negative reinforcement because it's uncomfortable, and thereby you will get a dog to walk on that collar. Okay, you will hear many stories about it, and generally speaking, when somebody gives an opinion on it which is very negative, the chances are they have never used the tool. They go on what they hear third party wise, and that's the biggest problem with a lot of things in dog training. Unless you've specifically used a product, technically speaking, you've been prejudiced, because how can you give an opinion on something that you've just heard about? So see, Kim says to me that Jane is an old bitch. She might be, but I've never met Jane personally. But if I assume, because of what Kim's told me, that Jane, and the only reason I'm using used to, because you're the last two to answer questions on here, is that if I assume that Jane is a gibbering old bitch, am I not being prejudiced? And there's no room for that, okay? I generally say to people, I make up my own mind about people, and that's what you need to be aware of. So, yes, there are tools out there, and generally speaking, what happens is people give opinions on tools. Yeah, so I'll cover that in a minute, Linda. So, if you think about it, guys, when people give an opinion, yeah, Jane, you're an old bitch, right? So, when you give an opinion on something which you have little or no knowledge on, that's a prejudice, guys. That's what it's classed as, prejudice. Okay, so think about that. Then comes the biggest headache at the moment, the e-collar, electronic training system. That is what it is. Generally, you'll hear it called a shock collar, and the reason a lot of people call it a shock collar is because they try to create a motion. Has it been used successfully? Yes. However, the prong and the e-collar should never be used to train a behaviour. It should there be used to overlay an already trained behaviour. That's what it's there for. The problem you have with the two latter tools that I've just talked about is that they're used too often, too easily to try and fix a problem, and it's nothing but a sticking plaster. So it's really important that if you're going to add products like that, that you train the behaviour first before you add it. Then once you've added it, you still condition the collars that I've mentioned to the dog before you apply any negative or any punishment. Everything's a communication tool. So it's really important if you use those two items, any item like a slip lead as well, any lead pressure, it has to be conditioned. There are too many people just slapping them on dogs and lighting them up, and this is where the problem lies. And that's why, in my opinion, it'll end up not being available. Okay, so what else we got? Toys. You'll know I'm a big user of toys, not personally. Okay, that's something for other people to use. Toys, whether it's a ball, whether it's a tug toy or any of these other things, using toys is an interactive thing with you and the dog. We can use it for obedience. So when I use toys in play with the dogs, it's more of a tool to assist me in obedience. My dogs associate play with toys as obedience and obedience with play. So therefore I am I'm probably more likely to get the behaviours that I want by using play with the dogs. Play means obedience, obedience means play. Thereby, if I get what I want from the dogs get to play. They get to play the game. Okay, and that's what it is. The problem is with toys is people give dogs free access to toys and the dogs just wreck them. They rip, tear, and do all the shite with them. And then people go, oh, is there anybody know that I've got a toy that my dog won't destroy? Well, don't leave. Oh shit, guys. Ukraine are beating Scotland 2-0. Anyway, do you mean the toys? I don't know what you mean by that, Donna. Do you mean like your toys? Do you name the toys? Alright. Do I name my toys? No. They're not the dogs, they're mine. I don't name the toys. I've no need to. I just use toys for obedience. So when I ask my dog to retrieve them, it's just a game. That's what it's all about, guys. Right. So if we think about dogs, my dogs don't have any toys. The toys belong to me. Okay. Nothing belongs to my dogs. The toys all belong to me. Dogs don't have free access to any of the toys. They have to gain access through obedience and through play, interactive with me. The dogs don't just get to sit and chew toys. Never. Because the toys wouldn't last. Dogs dissect, rip, tear. That's what their teeth are for. If my dog wants to sit and chew stuff, I'll go and get my marrowbone. But I never leave them with toys. Because one, the danger is that they may ingest something from that toy. That's why I never leave them unattended with them as well. So it's a whole magnitude of problems there. I love the obedience play with Maisie yesterday. Yeah, so Angela used toys yesterday. So what we did yesterday with Angela, we were doing the stop command. So Angela's got a little rabbit squeaky toy. So basically she recalled her collie in. She puts her hand up and then brings her hand forward with the toy in it here. And as she brings her hand forward to say stop, the toy flies out of Angela's hand towards the dog and lands behind the dog. Dog stops. See how we create. And then what happens is Angela recalls the dog to her and then sends her for the toy. So the dog gets the positive, which is the toy. So the dog then has a game with Angela. So she has a game of tug with a little toy and then they go again. So see how she's interacting with obedience and toys. So I said she puts the toy in her hand. Dog runs towards her. She says stop. And as she does that, stop. The toy flies out her hand towards the dog, over the top of the dog. Dog goes, whoop, what was that? Boom. And dog is now stopped. So we'll do repetition, repetition, repetition. And then what we did is Angela did a recall and then she does heel work past the toy. And then once she does a heel work past the toy, allows the dog to go and get the toy and play with the toy. Again, with Angela. So they have a game together. And then they do it again. So see how obedience means play? Play means obedience. That's what we did. So she gets to play with the toy. So technically speaking, you could look at that as, if anybody's had a pre-mark training or pre-mark, what you do, dog has to give you what you want. Yeah. So dog has to give you what you want and then the dog gets the toy. Does that make sense? So what Angela did, Maisie, you got to recall to me, you got to stop, you got to recall, you got to do heel work, then you get the toy. And that's how we built it and built it and built it. So that was really good. I think we've got a video on it, Angela, so can we put that up? I think we've got that. Angela, let me find the right video and you'll see what Angela does. It's good when we've got videos. Right, you did send me this one, didn't you? Right, hold on. Let's see if I can find it. I'll just check this last one, Angela. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. No, it wasn't that one. I changed that one. Hold on. I'm just looking, Angela, now. Guys, just let me find this video. Okay. It's the one that the toy lands right next to it. I'm looking for it. Right, okay. Hold on. I'll look at this one, Angela. No. I think we found it. Wait a minute. Guys, I'm just searching this video. It's got it. Nice. Good. Okay, found it. So we'll put that up, Angela. Right. Guys, give me a second. I'm just trying to bring it up, Angela, but we'll try. I don't know why that's not coming up. It's not uploaded onto the computer. I'm just looking in photos. Yeah, we got it here. Right, okay, guys. Right. Guys, can you see this video? Let me know if you can see this. If not, I'll need to save it to another. Can somebody let me know if they can see the video? No, yes, no. Nope, right, hold on. Right, okay, don't panic, guys. I need to, yeah, I know, you bastards. Wait.
Do another walk past.
I'm trying to work out how to put it on a...
So you get plenty of distraction now.
Hold on, guys.
Nice.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I'm going to swear now, sorry.
Do I read call one to you? Send her for the toy.
No, I don't want that. Right, guys, just give me a second.
Bring her in, have a game, Ange.
If I put that up there... Not now. Oh, great. give me a second, guys, and try to put it on a... Right. Let's see if that's transferred across now. Can hear it. I know you can, Sam. I can hear it as well. You're dealing with somebody that's not the brightest on a computer here, so give me a second. Shared albums. Media. Let's try that. Yeah. Shared. Oh man, how the hell do you get that over there? Right guys, I can't bring that up. Don't know how. Trying to bring it up. I don't know how to do it. So, you do it there? No. Cancel that. How about that? No. Oh man. I just hate this shit. Guys, I am trying to bring this up and I can't, so I don't know how to. Let's have a look at that. Media. Photos. Ah, right. There we go, guys. We're in. Right. Can you see it? So Angela walks away from the dog. Dog is here. Angela calls the dog. You'll notice as she brings her hand up, she has a toy in it. Recalls the dog back to heel. You can watch it again in a second. She now walks the dog to heel. Now, there's the toy. Walks the dog past the toy. Brings her back round. And I ask her to walk past again. So there's the toy. Dog has to ignore the toy. And then what happens is she'll bring her into heel. She'll now send her for the toy. Dog gets to play with the toy. And Angela plays a game. That's what happened. So I'll try and bring that up for you guys. Full screen. Here we go. Alright. Right. Everybody see it. Whatever I did, it worked. There she is. So this is how we use toys. You'll notice when Angela brings her hand up, she throws the toy, dog stops, toy lands behind, dog goes, oh, what was that? We do lots of repetitions over and over and over and over again. There we go, walks past the toy. Now, as I said, you could say this is a type of pre-mat training, where there's the toy, the dog's not allowed to touch the toy, she has to ignore it. And she'll now send the dog for the toy. And she gets to play with the toy. That's it. Anybody? Observations? So let's see if I can actually find the little guy. See if you can see it better on one of mine. No, we wouldn't, Susie, because the idea is that we get the dog to stop. If the dog stops and goes back to the toy, the reward is the toy. So what we would work on is an out command at first. So basically what's happened is Angela's worked on an out command with that toy in the past where she plays with the toy. So that's how she's done it. I'm just seeing if there's any on here of the little guy. Because we normally put stuff on where the little guy doing stops. See if I've got one. Right, let's have a look at stuff here. Shit. Right. Beth, she was skiving. Now how did we do that again? Right, let's go into photos. Now you'll see me doing it with Uber. Let's see if we get one of the wee guy. She was skiving, Beth. There's nothing up there. Right. Right guys, let's see if we can get this one saved as well. See if there's a better one for you. I'm just looking for one for you. Engagement, we don't want that. We don't want that. Oh dear, 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 dear. Where's the wee guy? Why is it you can never find shit when you're looking for it? Give me a second, people. I will have one here. The thumbnails are that bloody small I can't see them. Sorry guys. Right, anyway, there are videos on our page of Uber doing stops. I'm sure I've got one here. Was that one there? Sure that was one.
You? Good lad. Good lad. You?
No, don't want that. It's not what we want, guys. Oh, where's that little shit? You can never find that little bugger when you want him. Give me a second, guys. Oh, what's got there? 46, 702, 31. Shit. No. That one there.
So anytime he gets it wrong, we just go over it and over it and over it. Alright, sit up. Sit up. Correct. So he's watching me now. Correct. Okay, get it.
Right, we'll use this one, guys. This is a good demo.
Come here. So he gets
Okay, so we'll try and bring this one up, guys. Okay, right, let's cancel that. We'll go back into how we tried this before. I think it was that. Was it? Nope, wasn't that. Don't know how I did this before. Let's try that. Movies. Yeah. Okay, guys, here you go. This is how we did it.
So anytime he gets it wrong, we just go over it and over it and over it. Alright, sit
So
up.
you'll notice in the video,
Sit up.
I put Uber in a setup. There's a rabbit skin out in front of me.
Correct.
So the reward is the rabbit skin. So I go between myself and the rabbit skin and stop him again. And then he gets the reward. That's how we do it. And then what will happen over time is we put the toy behind him. So he gets to play with the toy. Now he gets a free one. Okay? Because he's retrieved it for me. That is how we do it.
So anytime he gets it wrong, we just go over it and over it and over it. Alright, sit
Okay,
up.
it's about repetition.
Sit up.
So there's the skin.
Correct. So he's watching me now. Correct. Okay, get it.
So he always gets the reward.
Come here. Come here.
Okay. Right, I don't know how to get rid of this shit now. Oh, bugger. Right. Right. What have I done? Done something. Don't know what I've done, guys. Right, okay. Oh, right, I'm trying to get my face back up on the thing. Oh my god, what am I doing? I haven't got a clue. Oh, fuck. Right. Yeah, here we go, I'm back. Right, any questions? Right, okay. What are you laughing at, Beth? I know, thick as hell when it comes to computers. Right. So, that was toys. Food, you could go along the same way. We used food for engagement, guys. So we use food in response to name to build engagement. So dog's name, feed, dog's name, feed, dog's name, feed, dog's name, feed. The same as I would a clicker, clicker, feed, clicker, feed, clicker, feed. So what we do is we condition the dog to their name. Say that you're still wee. What? Wee. So what we do is I'm not back to full screen. Oh. How's that? How's that, guys? Let me know. Yeah, magic. I'm back on full screen. Am I not? Yep, back. Right, okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Computer, Michael, computer. So toys and food, you could put them in the same. Water, yeah, water could be a reward, guys, as well. So we look at that as well. So these are all different tools. So any questions on tools? Hi, Jamie. Tools, tools, tools. Any questions? No. Right, you're late to the party, Jamie. Right, let's get rid of this, and then I'm going to talk about the 3Ds. Yes, you can, Beth, you can. So, when we're talking about clickers, guys, and yes and no, clickers predict. Beth, you should know this. You were working with me weeks ago, right? We talked about markers. All the word yes, guys, is a marker, and all the word, or the clicker is a marker, and the word no technically is a marker. So remember what I said, let's look at markers, okay? Clicker. Yes. No. Good. Right, all markers. Right, clicker and yes tend to be termination markers. Okay? Now what I mean by that, the clicker and the yes will basically condition the dog, or will predict to the dog that the exercise is over, and then a positive outcome becomes, or it predicts a positive outcome as a result of that exercise being over. So, dog sits, we click, we reward, positive outcome as a result of the clicker. Dog sits, we say the word yes, dog predicts that that's going to be that, if you've conditioned it properly, okay? No. Predicts a negative, generally, okay? Negative. Positive. Good. Good is generally a continuation marker, okay? Good, good, good. Lets the dog know that it's getting it right. And then after the good, 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 yes. Or good, good, click, okay? So this is a continuation marker. Lets the dog know they're getting it right. Yes and clicker predict the positive outcome, and no predicts a negative outcome if it's been conditioned. So, dog does something wrong, you say the word no, you add a negative consequence. It's that simple. Does that make sense, Beth? Yes? Tell me yes, Beth, please. For rub it out. So, understand that? Markers, clicker, yes, no, and good. That's the simplest form. I thought so, but wanted to double check. Arthur runs off when I click the clicker for some reason. Okay, some clickers are louder than others. Okay, so one of the clickers I have actually has a volume switch on it. So if I say volume switch, but if I move the switch on the clicker up or down, the clicker sounds sharper and louder than when there's less pressure on it in the number one position. Does that make sense? So if he's running off when he hears the clicker, the clicker hasn't been conditioned. So if you want to condition the clicker, stand in front of him with a lead on, click, feed, click, feed, click, feed, click, feed, click, feed. See, the clicker predicts the positive of food. Do you get that? Make sense? Please, yeah, yes. If he's running off, it hasn't been conditioned. That is my assumption. Right, magic. Thank God for that. So what was I going to talk about again? Yes, the D's. Somebody give me one of the D's, please. Give me a D. There's 3 of them. Come on, people. Jamie, give me a D. I said 1, Jane. Don't be a smart ass. Somebody else give me one. They cannot see Jane's answer. I'm just going to write them down. Right. Walk the dogs, right. So, 3 Ds in training. Alright? Distance, distraction, duration. Distance. Let's look at any exercise. Let's look at sit. Okay, the simplest form. If I want to say, get my dog to sit for 10-20 seconds, if I add that, when we first start the exercise, I cannot add that till we build the work. Does that make sense? What we're looking for when we get to here is all 3 of these to be present. So, I say sit, and the dog sits for 10-20 seconds, I say yes and reward. So I might do lots of duration, okay? 20-30 seconds. What I might look at then is adding distance, okay? So what I'll do is negative, negative, positive, okay? So I add distance. So I'll put the dog in a sit. I'll take 2 steps back, 3 steps back, 4 steps back, 5 steps back. Distance, right? And then I'll go back in straight away and reward the dog. Make sense? So I've got no duration. I've got no distraction, but I'm adding distance. Okay? Make sense? Then what I might add is a distraction. So I get my dog to sit and Jane jumps up and down. So we'll say Jane. Jane's having a distraction in the background. So I get my dog to sit. There's the distraction. I don't have distance. I don't have duration. Dog's in a sit. Distraction happens. Boom. Fire it in. Dog's in a sit. So it might be another dog walking past. It might be a car walking past. Might be any of these items. Okay. Then what I might do is I add distance and duration. Okay. So I add a positive. So I add distance and duration, but I take away distraction. So I put my dog in a sit for like a minute, and I say take 5 or 10 steps. Make sense? Make sense? But I don't add distraction at this time. So my next exercise, I might add a distraction, and I might add distance. I'm shite at writing. So let's say we don't have distance, we have a distraction, and we have duration. So I put my dog in a sit, and I add 30 seconds, say half a minute, right? And there's a distraction of a dog walking past. So I'm looking to have a 30-second sit while a dog walks past. And then I reward that. Okay? Right. So what I might add now is distance and distraction. Negative duration. Now the reason I drop duration is the dog is distracted by, say, the other dog walking past, but I want to still take 5 steps away from the dog. So what I do is put the dog in a sit, distraction walks past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and bang, it straight back in. So I reward the dog before it breaks. So thereby, I'm not leaving the dog in a sit for a long time. Then what we need to do is, once we've mixed all this up, say we've done duration, we've done distraction, we've done duration and distance, we've done distraction, duration, distance and distraction, and we played around with them all, okay? What I want to try and do then is work towards that. I want to add them all. So I want a dog to give me a 30-minute sit when I'm 5 steps away, example, and I want there's a distraction walking past at the same time. Make sense? Okay? Now we could use that in any type of training. So say we want the dog to loose lead walk, okay? Loose lead. So what I can do is I can walk a distance of 10 footsteps, right? For a period of what? 30 seconds, 40 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, depending how long I take, okay? So you could apply it to any behavior that you're training, okay? Downs, sits. Your recalls, distraction, how many recalls you're going to do, where the dog recalls from distance. See how you can add it to any exercise, and that's what you need to look at, okay? So if you think of a exercise and then think about the 3Ds and how you can add and take them away. And that, my friends, is the 3Ds and how we apply them, okay? Generally used on stationary exercises more often than not. So your distance, distraction and duration, sits, down, comes, stays, etc. Okay? Your loose lead, yes, we can add a duration of time and we can add distance and creep, alter the distance. So I might do 10 steps in U-turn. I might do 5 steps in U-turn. And then I also do loose lead as well. So today we did distraction for little Brody. So we had the distraction, and what Susie did was she did loose lead walking for a period of say 3 or 4 minutes at a distance. So she might have walked up to the lamppost, walked back, and then reduced it, and then increased it, and then reduced it, and then increased it. So what you can also do as well is we added the 3Ds to the reactivity exercise, which was bat. So what we did was added these 3 to bat training today, okay? So what we did, Uber was here with Angela, okay? And what we did with Susie and Brody was they walked in towards us. So what they did is they walked in. So you see you got distance. There's the distraction. Distance. So we walk in, walk in, walk in. And then she sat him there for a couple of seconds and then took him away again and then increased and decreased and increased and decreased. And then about 10 minutes later, little Brody was there, little Uber was there, and Angela and Susie were able to have a chat without the dogs kicking off. And that was using the 3Ds on the reactivity exercise. So you could apply it, right? So you could apply it to mostly anything. So think of an exercise, guys. Give me an exercise. Come on, give me something, and I'll apply the 3Ds. Let's see what you got. Recall. Okay, let's look at recall. Distance, distraction, duration. So let's look at emergency stop. You've thrown them at me now, guys, right? Let's look at distance on recall. So, there's Susie with little. I'm shite at drawing, okay? I'll tell you that now. Brody and Susie, okay? So, what you do with the recall is, see for argument's sake, Susie has Brody on a 4-foot lead or 5-foot lead. What she will do is she will put Brody here and Susie will be here, and start recalling, okay? Distance. So we're only starting at that, okay? 4, 5, 10 feet in some cases. Distraction, so there might be, say, grass, right? There might be cars, might be little children. What else can we put in there? Birds, you name it. Anything could be a distraction. So it could be another impulse or arousal. So it could be, especially a spaniel, it could be a bird, it could be a car, it could be another dog, etc., etc., etc. So what you do when you start recall is you start without any distraction. Okay? And what you do is you might practice that for 5 or 10 minutes. And you increase distance with no distraction. Okay? Then what happens is you reduce the distance but increase the distraction so that we've got control and we're able to take the dog away from that, and we can do it for a period of time. Make sense? See how you can add it? So, as I said, Susie might want to start at 4 or 5 feet, but no distraction. But then what happens is she increases distance without distraction, but does it for a long time. Then what happens is she adds distraction, decreases distance, and does it for short periods. Like calm, boom, calm, boom, calm, boom, bang, 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 bang. Does that make sense? And then what happens is she might have the distraction, increase the distance, so she might have it on a long lead. So what we did with Susie today is, this is the only time I ever use a flex ace for recall. So she was able to let the dog walk out on distance, but still have control. The distraction was people and dogs, and she'd done that for a period of time. There we go. That's how you do it. Any questions? Emergency stop, Linda. Okay, so that's an easy one. Let's look at emergency stop. So the way I start emergency stop, guys, is I have the dog sat in front of me, right in front of me, so there's your distance. Okay, we don't have distraction, but we have a duration. So I take a step away from the dog to create maybe 1 or 2 feet, and I put my hand up and I say stop. The dog will automatically go into what we call a sit position, and I start rewarding. So we've got distance, which is short, and then what we can do is we can start increasing distance, and then we get the dog to sit as it comes towards us at distance. So see how we increase distance there, Linda? And then we add time as well. We can also add distraction, so we recall the dog away from whatever it is, or there might be something coming across us. There's your distraction. We stop the dog so that that thing can walk past us. Or if you notice when I did the rabbit skin behind me, Uber is here, I'm in the middle, the distraction's now behind me. He wants to get to the distraction, right, which is the rabbit skin. So as he runs towards me, I place it up, I then put it down when he gives me the stop, and then he gets the reward. So you can increase distance. So if you notice what I did when I did that was I decreased distance and then increased it and decreased it. That's how you do it. The other way of doing the emergency stop, dog runs towards you, you put it up, okay? Now what you would already do, you would also program that hand coming up, and you would put food in here and you would put it towards the dog. So you come up, stop, as you put that stop command up, food flies out, lands in front of the dog. Make sense? I would suggest you do that in very short grass. So dog runs towards you, hand goes up, food flies out, and the dog goes, oh, this is good, boom, boom. So lots of food, short distance, and then you can start adding distractions. Make sense? Good. Right. Any questions, guys? Any questions? So that's how the 3Ds generally work. Generally used a lot on the static commands a lot more, but you can use it on anything if you apply it. Questions? Any questions? By the way, Scotland get beat 3-1. Not bothered. Right, okay. So what I would do, so how do I distract Otto from pulling when he sees birds? Alright. I would work on a correction for that. Is he on a flat collar Shona, or is he still on a Gen Con? Answer the question. Is he on a normal flat leading collar, please, for that? Gen Con. Okay. For that exercise, Shona, I know he's a big lad. Okay. Do you have a French collar, slip collar, anything like that? Let me know if you have a slip collar or flat collar. What are you doing, you little shit? Right. Okay, guys. I will be visiting family on Friday, so we'll be putting my invisible coffee scenario into practice. Slip collar. Right. If he's on a slip collar, Shona, make sure it's high and tight on the head. Tighten it up. Put the lead on. Stand with the lead. When he goes in front of you, okay, let him take the full whack of the lead as he goes towards the birds, and as soon as you see him going forward, you turn and go the other way as quickly as possible. What he will get is he will correct his cell at this end, and he'll get the correction as your body goes the opposite way as well. So you need to set this up. So the dog is there, it goes towards whatever it is. So you've got the lead, right? See, you've got the lead in that hand. Put your thumb in this side in the loop. I've not even got a lead up here with me. Anyway, where's the lead? Right, anyway, lead's on the dog at this end. You're walking. You see the birds? He goes forward. Do not go with him. So I want him to take all the slack up. Now the lead can't be under tension. Okay, no tension in it. So as he goes forward, timing has to be good. As he goes forward, as you see him going forward and he's distracted by the bird and he has no engagement with you, as he turns and goes, you turn and go the opposite way. So what you'll get is that bang, right? So now, I know he's a big lad, so the setup and timing has to be good with him. Alright? So that's where you have to get this right. Myself and Angela were practicing this yesterday with Rico. We were doing some practice with it. We never got a video of it. But what you're almost getting is that snap effect. It's almost like he goes that way, you go that way very quickly, and you get that snap effect. So there's no tension in the lead to start with. If there's tension, you need to step in. So there's no tension, and then snap backwards as he goes forward. But you need to do it with all your body. So don't underwhelm the dog. If you underwhelm the dog, especially Otto, will turn around and go, is that the best you've got? He is a massive, massive GSD, so you need to put in the work for that one, guys. Is that? Oh, that sticks to that. That's good. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, that's good. Yeah, you need to really put effort into that. Okay, I usually will get a little time as he stalks, so should manage. So what you're looking for is that. And if the lead is under tension, you can't do it. You need to make the lead slack, so you've almost got a loop in it. So that you've got... Do you know the best way to describe it? Remember, we used to do that with your belt. Snap, snap. So you used to have a belt folded over. Somebody used to do it, didn't they? And then you brought it together and there was a gap, didn't you? And you almost went... And it made that snapping noise in the middle. Does that make sense? So you could look at that. Alright? Something to consider. All right. The problem is, Angela, if we try to do that with you know who, he knows. Yeah. Yes, I did. Nah, thanks, right. Angela's talking about us doing a video on Friday, and if I use Rico, Rico knows how have your one-to-ones been? Good, we're busy, massively busy, Beth. Yeah, my Rottweiler's too smart for that exercise, guys, because he feels my body movement. So if he's on the end of the lead and I take a step in towards me, he automatically engages with me. He's so he knows what's coming, or he's conditioned to know what will happen if he doesn't tune in to me, guys. Alright, so you need to be aware of that. It's almost like a conditioning exercise. You can start off with lots of engagement showing us. So I would probably build up tons and tons of engagement with them. And the other way of doing it is working at distance. Okay. So let's say the birds are over here, right? And you guys are over here. So what you start doing is walking in. Find out as soon as he looks at them. Okay? Does that make sense? So if he engages here, alright, that's his wee specs, he's engaging, and the birds are there, okay? What you need to do is move back to here and almost see if he disengages, alright? So you're looking at distance, that's almost a form of bat, alright? If you're too close, he'll be highly aroused, and then you need to take him back, and that's where you'll have the tension. You may get tension here, alright? That's where the tension happens, okay? So if you're tense, you'll need to move in because you've gone over threshold. So it's almost threshold. So you might have to move him back here, and you see his body relaxing and he disengages, and then you can start engagement exercises back here before the bird's here. So this is where bat takes a long time, okay? That's what happens with it, okay? So people go forward, there's the distance, threshold is here, that's where he's over threshold and he won't disengage from them. So what you need to do is take him back, and if this is 100 meters, you work on engagement here, let him look. If he disengages, you reward him, massively reward, hundreds and tons of reward. That's the other way of doing it. Then what happens is you start closing the space down. So you might do a couple of days there, and this is where bat training takes a long time. This is the downside of it. You might then move to there, you might move to there, you might move to there. However, if your timing is really good, you might not have to do all this, and you can almost sort it out straight away. Alright, so you put the Punisher in here, he understands it, and he starts engaging. That's the correction. Make sense? That's what you can look at. That's one of the ways of doing it. Tell me you understand what I've just described, please, Shona. That makes sense, guys? And that's BAT. You can use behaviour adjustment training for that. Rewards sometimes help, definitely getting more engagement with food and pay more attention. Okay, so as I said, if the birds are over here and you're here and you start moving forward and you see he disengages about here, you've gone too far, so you need to come back here. And you do your engagement work here when the birds are 50 metres away, whatever it is. That's BAT. That is the downside of BAT, that it does take a long time. Okay, can it work? Yes, but it takes a long time in some cases. Okay, could sometimes take weeks, right? So if you add a lot of foundation engagement here and build it up and build it up and build it up, and then you start adding distractions. So remember I was on about 3Ds, okay? So you do lots of duration here at a distance, the distraction is here, alright? And then you start decreasing distance, the distraction's getting closer, the distance is getting shorter, and you're doing it for a longer time. There's your 3Ds. How's that? Alright, makes sense? You have to use the knowledge that you have to understand what is the dog actually seeing, guys. What is he seeing? And again, could you add a correction? Of course you can. Is it justified? Yes, in some cases, because the dog needs a wee reminder or a tap on the shoulder to say, oh, you can't do that. Okay? because again your rotator cuff might end up on the slab. Anything else. Shunlo and Gen Con, right? Da da da. Putting my invisible coffee sound practice. Would you consider writing a book, Michael? I've already been asked, Beth. I have been asked. It's a consideration. We're already looking at it. Would you buy it? I have been asked. And it's already been considered at the moment. I think it's important that every trainer has bat in his toolbox. Yes. And the reason I say that is that, I mean, I have got, what have I got up here in front of me? Scent training, behaviourist diary, soldier dogs, definitely with an autograph. Koshti, Angela. What else have I got up here? A dog called Hope. Navy SEAL dogs, one dog at a time. Inside the head of a dog. Yeah, so got a book written by an Alexandra Horowitz. It's the inside of a dog, the brain, how the brain thinks. Really good book. Sean's book's up there. Yeah, Gracie Stewart's up there. Barbara Sykes, who I've spoke about in the past. We met, Barbara, myself and her ran into each other at a sheepdog trials. What else have I got up there? What the fuck is that? Nah, that's operator stuff. Muller Knows Best. So you've got what else we got? Kevin Kosher, the man that trains police bloodhounds. We've got Carol Lee Benjamin. I've already spoke to you about that, guys. Carol Lee Benjamin wrote Mother Knows Best. Yeah. So what I do, all these books up on my dog shelf, bookshelf above my head. And Angela will tell you, because she's seen this shelf. You've got books from everybody. I've even got books there from Steve Mann. Some might not agree with him. I've got Bill Keeler. I've got even books there from other sort of dogs. Everything, because I think it's vitally important that I look at every one of these people and I take something from every one of these books. And this is the problem in training, is that what you get in the industry is this is what you get, guys. This is why the training industry is fucked. It's my way or no way, and that is the problem. Because if your way is the only way, you are part of the problem. And that is the problem with the training industry. Please tell me I'm wrong. And I know Jamie's sat there, and Jamie's just set up a group recently, and this is the problem. And the reason Jamie's put the group together is down to the fact that the industry is so toxic that I would never encourage anybody. Angela said it's important to have an open mind. Okay? So, better check Anne's message me. Anne's due to finish. My lovely wife is out stitching people up. Right. Right. Anne's not messaged me yet, so that's it. So, guys, this is the problem with the dog training industry. This is the problem, guys. is because what you'll get, how do you feel intimidated? You work with me, I just tell them to fuck off, right? So what you'll get, guys, right? I'm going to talk about it because I think it's important. And one of the dogs has just farted, and that's unimportant. So, the two sides of the training spectrum, for those that don't know, okay? That's what you've got in the training industry, guys, okay? See that? Positive only, force free, and balance. So the problem you've got is these guys think that these guys just use always punishment, okay? Always punishment. And these guys think these guys, okay, just use food. That's the problem you have. So what happens is, these guys will attack these guys, and these guys will attack these guys. Okay? That is the industry. So, what you will get, and I'm sorry to say it, is, for me, there is too much punishment. Okay? But these guys believe in not correcting or saying no. However, dogs learn through positive and negative. All right? That's how they learn. They learn through positive and negative. Okay? So, every living sentinel learns through positive and negative consequence. Okay? These guys here don't believe in corrections or negative consequences. However, the one thing that keeps these guys safe from this lot is the very fact the thing they don't believe in is actually protecting them. Because these guys won't act against them because they know the law punishes. And these guys know that those right? These guys know the one thing that protects them is this, because the law punishes, and that's why they won't attack this lot. Okay? So in the middle, you have people. So in the middle here, guys, you have people like me and Angela and others, JB. So we agree to balance out the world that a dog must have both negative and positive consequence. That's how they learn. So what you'll get is, when a pup steps out of line in the litter, the bitch will give it a negative or a positive. So if we look at how a dog does it, a dog might paw slam, a dog might growl, a dog might bark, a dog might mouth its puppy to give it a negative consequence. A positive consequence can be a right? You always hear Rico doing it. He has a rotty grumble. It's almost like a really sort of, I agree with what you're doing. They will rub their puppy, they will lick their puppy. I'm not saying for 1 minute you get down and start licking dogs, okay? But you can see what I mean. So the dogs learn even in the litter. But what happens is, at 8 or 9 weeks, we arrive and remove it all. We remove this. That's what happens. We take away all the clarity that these guys have learned in the first 8 weeks of their life. Because we show up, and what happens is we take them home and we treat them like little infants in fur coats. And we give them toys, we give them love, we give them affection, and we forget that they need clarity in their life. And that is negative and positive consequence. Because that's how they learn. But this lot think this lot just punish all the time, which I'm afraid there's too much of it going on, and that's coming from me. I seriously consider and think that in the dog training world, the balance and the too many balanced trainers, or they call themselves balanced, they're not. They just go out and punish the shit out of dogs from the offset. So that's not balanced. Okay, that's abuse. So this lot think these guys abuse all the time. So if they use a slip blade, they use a prong collar, they use an e-collar, this lot thinks that's abuse. But there's no such thing as force free, and there's no such thing as positive only, because as soon as I attach a lead or collar, I remove the freedom. Remove freedom, take away the freedom, nothing positive in that. So as soon as I attach a lead and a collar, so where there are 4 quadrants in training, or 4 quadrants in the scientific definition, these guys will only use 2 quadrants. These guys people like me and Angela will use 4. And these guys, sometimes will use 1 more often than they should. Alright, that's my opinion, take it for what it is. So what you've got is you've got positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. So what you've got is these guys here will use positive reinforcement and negative punishment, right? That's the 2 they tend to use. Negative punishment is removing, so they remove the food or remove what the dog likes, okay? And positive reinforcement is to add. So add, okay, and negative take away, okay? So positive punishment, I add something to stop a behaviour, so something intolerable, lead popping, e-collar, stimulation, prong collar, pop, high level, anything like that. Rattle can could be classed as positive punishment. Positive reinforcement, food, toys, play, absence of lead pressure could be classed as positive reinforcement. Everybody, these guys think it's all about food all the time and toys, okay? But you could say that positive reinforcement is also absence of lead pressure, okay? You could add that presence of lead pressure is a negative reinforcement. So what the dog will stop doing is pulling because there's lead pressure, so that you take that away, you take the ability of that dog to pull. Okay, that's what you do. So, like I said, so these people will tell you that they use modern scientific dog training. If that was the case, they'd be using all 4 quadrants, but they only decide to use 2. So there's nothing science about it. What you also get as well as a lot of the time when you talk about training, these guys won't engage due to the fact that, alright, you missed all of there, mate. So I was actually giving you a heads up. So what you've got, guys, is that a lot of the time these guys here, okay, will not entertain anything that, say, myself, Angela and Jamie use. So myself and Angela and Jamie, and who else is on here? Kim's on here, Sam's on here. So what we'll tend to do is we'll use every tool in the box to get the dog to the better place. Having a multitude of tools in the toolbox, and that's what I was on a bit earlier, the trainer's toolbox, gives the dog the ability, or gives us the ability, to get the dog to a better place by using everything we have in the box. Okay, that's what it is. However, some of the trainers that say they're balanced, but the problem is some of them are using too much punishment. They're not, because what you're getting, and Angela knows what I'm talking about, there are certain trainers who are just going out and selling e-collars and prong collars, and that's all they're using. They're not actually looking at what's causing the problem. So what we'll do, so myself and Angela went out to the dogs the last few days, right? So the Mali, that was fear reactive. Okay, the Cocker, fear reactive. Okay. Yeah, compulsion, Jane, that's the word I'm looking for. So what you'll get is a lot of compulsion here, guys. Okay, so what we did, me and Angela, we went out and we saw the Mali. So we saw the Mali acting up here. Yeah, that's right, Jamie, that's what we're talking about. So Jamie's made a point, guys, saying he's actually took just as many dogs off prong and e-collars as he's put on. Okay, so that's what you've got to look at. So let's look at the Mali and the Cocker today. The Cocker today, and then we had the Mali, okay? So fear reactive, so what we're able to ascertain from judgment. So let's look at the Cocker. The Cocker was using its behaviour to make other people go away. So what we had to do was turn that over, okay? So what we did with the Cocker was we used a form of bat, very low form, okay? Because he wasn't off the scale. So what we did is we brought Uba here and the Cocker was here. But what happened is when the Cocker was kicking off, we didn't move away. Because what was happening in the past was the Cocker's function was to get us to go, and we didn't. So what we then did is when the Cocker disengaged, the Cocker went away. We never went away. We removed the Cocker from the situation. So what's been happening in the past is Cocker kicks off and Susie takes... Susie was saying that the person he's kicking off at, whether it's another dog or a person, that person moves away. So the Cocker's achieved its function, if that makes sense. Yeah? The aim has happened. So the Cocker's barked, growled, lunged, done whatever it's done, and that person's moved away. Cocker's achieved its aim. And then the problem was Susie was then rewarding a little bit down the line. So the sequence is still there. So there was a likelihood the dog could be getting rewarded for doing the wrong thing, and Susie was doing that today. What was happening is she was getting the timing perfect, which was great, and she's been working hard. The Mali, what was happening was person's walking down the road here, Mali starts barking and the person keeps moving away. So the Mali's eyes is getting the person to move away. So what we did is we put the Mali in and we stayed there, and when the Mali disengaged, we took the Mali away. And that's what we were doing. Okay? So if you think of that, you have to understand what the dog is actually doing, why it's doing it, what's the function. But a problem is with a lot of the compulsion stuff, as Jane says, is that what these guys are too quick to do is go and strap things to dogs. Now, typical example is Angela's dog. We did the video earlier on, we showed you Angela's dog working for the toy. So Angela's dog is the little collie, right? Biter. So, problem is, Angela's collie was a biter. So what Angela did was call a trainer out. I'm not going to name them, but it won't take much to work out. She calls the trainer out, and the first thing the trainer does, no conditioning, nothing, sticks a prong on. Dog acts up, massive punishment. Okay? Doesn't even condition it. Doesn't get the desired effect with the prong, then he sticks an e-collar on. Turns it up to 60. Those that have ever operated an e-collar, well, that's quite high. On a little collie, a little bearded collie. Punish. Massive. When it doesn't happen or doesn't work, turns around to Angela and says, keep turning it up, keep turning it up, keep turning it up, keep turning it up. And the dog goes flat as a pancake and fearful, goes into shutdown, basically shuts itself down, absolutely off its face. Okay? Totally flat. Yep, magic. Glad you brought it up, Jane. So when we went out, we said to a lot of our clients, is we always work with the dog in front of us and the person in front of us. We work to their skills and their abilities and their application. Okay, that's what we do. So, yeah. So, yep. And Jamie's just said it. So, the prong and the e-collar were not conditioned. Okay? Okay. Prong and e-collar were never conditioned. When using any item, not just these tools here, guys, it's important you condition the dog to it. Even when we're using lead pressure, we always condition the dog. We stand there, dog goes to the end of the lead on a normal collar, dog stops, we start taking a step back, dog feels the pressure, turns round, releases pressure, we reward. So we're even conditioning normal leads and collars. But what happened here was they never conditioned any of these two collars. And what they did was they stuck it on, and they absolutely fried the dog, lit the dog up like a Christmas tree. And what they also did as well is they just punished the dog to shit on the prong. So what you've got there is dogs like, well, what's all this about? Doesn't understand. There's no communication because the dog doesn't understand what the tools are. And then what happens is it justified? No. Is it necessary? No. Is it proportionate? No. It's certainly not lawful in my eyes. Okay? Not lawful. Because when we talk about adding any sort of correction or punisher, and you've heard me say it in the past, one, it needs to be justified, it needs to be proportionate, it needs to be lawful and certainly necessary. So let's look at those four items. Justified. Yeah, it's abuse. So let's look at justification and necessary. Okay, justification and necessary, you could probably put in the same little circle. Okay. Justified and necessary. Is the behaviour... Is this something else I can help with? Fuck off. Is the behaviour dangerous to a other dog or a human? So would it be necessary and justified? Yes. Okay. However, then you need to look at proportionality. Okay. So I have a cocker and a rottie. Okay. Right, so the cocker and the rottie, okay? What might be a correction to this guy will laugh at you. Okay? So I need to look at proportion there. 50k, 15 kilo. See the difference, proportion-wise? So if I correct this guy on the correction I would give with him, this guy would just shut down and be he'd be like a crying little mess on the floor. If I use the same correction here and then applied it here, I'm dealing with a smaller dog. So Janice has a little Havanese, okay? So we need to look at that. She's even smaller than the cocker. So you need to look at proportionality, necessary, justification, and certainly lawful, okay? Those are the four criteria that I look at when I'm dealing with any of this stuff, okay? If I correct a rottie and then I apply the same correction to my little cocker, this guy would just crack up and probably end up a gibbering, pissed up mess on the floor. But if I applied the correction that I apply here to this guy, he would look at me and laugh in my face. That's what you get. So you need to look at justification as well. Look at the behaviour they're presenting. Is it dangerous? Does it need to be stopped? Okay? So when you're looking at stopping a behaviour, you need to look at making it intolerable. Right, sorry, writing's a bit shit. So intolerable, okay? Fuck's sake, that writing's really bad. 4 criteria. Identify it. What's the other ones? Inescapable. There's 4. Hold on. Where's my notes? There they are. Inevitable. That's it. Okay, guys. When stopping an unwanted behaviour, what you need to do is make it intolerable. Whatever you do, you need to make that behaviour intolerable. So, attacking another dog, attacking a human being, you need to make that behaviour intolerable to that dog. So we then apply the punisher that fits the crime. You need to identify the issue, okay? Identify the behaviour. Clearly identify it, what you need to stop. Make it inescapable. So whatever this is, on these 2, whatever correction you add, you make it inescapable to make this count. And then you let that dog know that whatever time they do this, it's inevitable that this is going to happen. That's how you do it. If you don't apply any of this, right, and it doesn't work, or say you apply 3 and not 1, if you don't apply all 4, that's why it won't work. You need to look at it. You need to make whatever they're doing intolerable. You need to identify it. You need to make sure whatever you're doing, they can't escape from it. And you need to make it inevitable. That's what's going to happen if you do that. And that's what you need to do. If it doesn't work, you haven't applied one of the principles, guys. That's how it works. Identify it, make it intolerable to carry out that behaviour, make it inescapable, which you're about to do, so the correction, they can't escape from it, and make it inevitable that that's what will happen. A predictable, intolerable consequence. Boom, there you go, Jamie. Dog knows that, fuck, if I kick off here, right, I ain't going to escape this shit, so I need to stop doing it. That's how it works. Alright? Jamie's just a practicable, intolerable consequence. Or, the other way you can do it is tangible consequence. There we go. Jamie says predictable, intolerable consequence. Tangible consequence. That's another way of doing it. This will happen if you do shit. Predictable, intolerable consequence. Jamie used 3, I used 4. Alright? But if it doesn't stop, then you haven't applied one of the principles, guys. And that's why it won't stop. So we need to look at a tangible consequence for the behaviour presented. Any questions? What's the time anyway? Annie's home. Jesus Christ, I've been on here for 2.5 hours. Any questions, people? I need to get the dogs out, guys. So both of them are asleep in the moment. Wait till you see this, by the way. I'm going to move the board out the road. Wait till you see this Spangle. Fuck me, he's on the office couch. Wait till you see this. Let me rub all this out. And I'll show you. The Rotty's at my feet. Okay, he generally sleeps nice and tidy down there. Right. Yeah, And I'll give you a phone after this, pal. Are you ready for this? Look at that little fucker. Alright, you lift your head up, you little shit. Get a nick him. We've got the big guy down here. Look at the state of that on the office couch. Admittedly, Angela, he was working hard at the park, wasn't he? Eh? Look at that lazy little fucker. Look at his state, boy. Yeah. What's up? Yeah. Oops, couch. Go on. Down. Good lad. So, Eli's in the office couch, guys. That couch in the office is the dog couch. Okay? Normally the big guys asleep on it as well. That is the dog couch. We bought that out of a charity shop. And it's technically just sits in the office. And anybody that sits on it has to understand that it's the dog's couch. Yes, it is. They have a couch in the office. Don't you? Yeah. So, what? Right. Questions, guys. Questions. Because I'm going to go in a minute, boys and girls. Right. Any feedback for tonight? Feedback? Guys, any feedback? Come on. Let me know. Right, I'm going to cut it loose in a minute. I think there's still about 10 people in here. Been going for 2.5 hours. Really informative. Oh, you still here, Susie? You've loved using that whiteboard. You broke it, Turner. It was you that broke the board. You broke it. I need to go soon anyway, guys, because Anne will be home soon. She normally messages me when she's on her way home from work. We'll let you know how it goes on Friday. Yeah. Yeah, Anne generally lets me know when she's coming home. She's probably had a busy night, actually. Because the Scotland game's on and she's working in the north of the city tonight. For those that don't know, she works in the ambulance service now, so she's quite busy tonight. Going to watch the beginning, but super helpful stuff. 3Ds were great, yes. Yeah, so what's that, guys? Right, it's been dispatched. That's magic. Just thinking. Oh. Yeah, so she'll be on her way home soon, but she's not messaged yet, which is unusual. And I need to take the dogs out. And it's not dark, which is good. Oh, how's your day going? Is she messaged? Oh. Oh God. How long will you take the dogs out for? Just down to the bottom of the road. Hold on. Thought that was Annie coming home. I just take them down to the bottom of the hill near the house, Beth. There's a wee stretch of grass there, and I'll just let them off lead down there and have a wee sniff en route. Just means that only about half an hour, just to let them have a sniff round, get rid of the toilet, so they're not doing it in the garden tonight. So that's what we'll do, half an hour, and then Anne's due home any minute soon as well. That's all we'll do, pal. Half an hour. Any other questions, guys? And they'll be doing it off lead as well. Beth, they just walk down off lead. Don't put them on the leads when they go out tonight. No need to. We take leads with us, but we generally don't. Basically, we don't. Let's see. We generally don't take. Keep them on the lead when we take them out at night. Have I missed anything about new training class meetups? Not yet. Myself and Andrew have been very busy, and I've got a man trailing course on this weekend in Inverness. As soon as we come back from that one, then we'll start publishing stuff. Okay. I've been very busy, as you can understand. So no, you haven't missed anything. That is generally it. Any other questions, guys, before I go? I need to get the poochies out. Questions. Did you see the vid I posted in the group of Murphy? No, Jamie, I haven't looked yet. I've been out with Angela all afternoon. We've been training all day. Angela, we will do a lead correction exercise on Friday if you want. We'll try it before I go up the road. We'll use the big guy for it. See if we can get away with it. What the fuck is this shit, man? Jamie, I didn't. What I'll do is go in there now, mate. Change. Okay. DT Rennie, where the fuck she is. I'm looking, Jamie. Did you say Adam? I think that's his name. Posted some Gundog type videos. Yeah, Adam Hudson. I haven't sent him over yet, Beth. I will do. I don't give a shit, to be honest, Linda. One-year-old bully mix, Jamie, is that the one? Just found it. Is this the one that's muzzle punching you? Or attempting to? Dancing about? I'll have a look at it. Yeah, I'll have a look at it later, Jamie. I've just seen it pop up, buddy. Like I say, I've been mega busy. Angela, I'll give you a ring in a minute and let you know what's happened. I did send them a message after they sent me one, and it's absolutely bollocks. Cool. Yeah. I'll have a look at it later. No, I think they came in on the business side. Let's have a look, Angela. Right, good. Okay. Right, no problem. Right, guys, I need to go. One, it's getting late. Secondly, dogs need to go out. Thirdly, wife will be home soon from work after patching people up all day. Surprised she hasn't rang, so she's probably in some bloody queue at a hospital somewhere with somebody in the back of an ambulance, because they're getting held up a lot at hospitals these days. Speak later, Michael. Yeah, give me a phone if you want, Jamie. I'm going out to walk with the dogs anyway. Still a bit, sky's still blue, which is a surprise, although it's dark at our level, the sky's quite light. Yeah, that's it. We're doing to 6 anyway. Right, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed tonight. Lots covered, etc, etc, etc. Okay, I'm knackered. I'm going. I had enough. Finito.